Hi Harsha.
Hi,
Good morning.
good morning.
Today our session is on YouTube comments.
Okay,
So many users have posted their comments in our videos.
okay,
So today we'll address those questions.
okay.
Shall we start?
We can start.
We got comment from Vimal Ras. Hi
Okay.
Harsha, have a question for you. How can one single user under an Axis group can create work objects of different work pools under one application? Is it possible? If yes, how?
Okay, so the question that Vimal is asking, so a user when login, he wanted to create different cases which are of different class groups. Okay, so let's say we have a class group 1, class group 2, let's say we have a class group A dash B dash insurance, and we have another class group A dash B dash loan. Under insurance class group, we may have different case types like personal insurance and auto insurance, home insurance like this. Similarly, under the loan class group, we may have different loan case types like auto loan, home loan or personal loan like this. So we need to add these class groups as work pools under the access group of the respective user. If you go to the user access group in the advanced tab, we have an option of adding work pool. So there we can add more than one work pool. Out of all this, one work pool to be selected as default work pool. So when user login, default work pool case types will be shown up, and he has to switch between the work pools in order to access the other work pool cases. So it is possible to create work objects of cases of different work pools by single user.
Okay, we'll move on to next comment. Kalpana Eduru, question on production support. How do you resolve an issue in production that user is encountered while creating or working on a case? You are getting issue only in production.
Okay, at the time while user is working, if there is an issue, user should have to leave the case in a work list or work basket, and he has to be away from the case without modifying it. Usually when there is an issue, if that is an issue, user definitely will not be able to work on it. Still, if a user is continuing to work on it, the main point here is how to identify the issue, how do you trace the issue. All this is the main point. So we can go ahead and remote trace the case by using remote tracer, and we can access the user's clipboard by going through the requester management in the admin portal and look at the clipboard of the user. So when we look at the clipboard of the user, we will be able to analyze some information and we can remote trace the case. But usually in production, we do not do the remote tracing and all, but still in the log files, we can verify at the time user is working. We can go to the log files and get the timestamp and look at the log files if there is an issue, and if it can be fixed, we have to do the fix only in the development environment. So in the production, we never directly fix the issue if it is related to the technical rule modifications and anything. But if there is a workaround, we advise the users to follow the workaround, and user when follows the workaround, it will be done the other way around, and we can fix the issue later in the development environment and move it to production.
Okay, next comment from Sai Kamal.
Okay.
Hi Harsha, I recently attended an interview and I was given a requirement that there is a date of birth which is only date field.
Okay.
And now we need to take the date of birth value and convert it into number of years and display it on the UI as number of years. I have tried few functions and not able to come to an answer.
Okay, so we have a function called date difference, and we can use date difference function. It takes three parameters. One is date of birth that is being entered by the user in like a date format, and we need to retrieve today's date by using get date stamp, or today's date function is there, and that is the second parameter. These two difference will be calculated, but here we need the difference in number of years. So the third parameter we need to mention as y. Y stands for years. So the difference between the today's date and the date of birth that user entered with respect to the number of years will get displayed in the UI, or it will get assigned to a property. So that will become the number of years, that will become the age. So this function will work for sure.
Okay Harsha, next comment. Venkata Maharshi, could you please explain about Agile methodologies and ticket tracking tools like Jira, Azure? It is useful for experienced people.
Yes, of course, but one thing is like explaining these tools, it will take time, And Jira tool can be used in order to collect the details about requirements and all. And what is the other tool?
Azure.
Azure is that is an environment, Azure provided by Microsoft in order to create the nodes and all. So where we can have the code repositories created like that. That is a what you call infrastructure. Okay. So this and all we will be able to understand when we go to any other YouTube channel video. Otherwise, if we have to make it, maybe in future we'll make it. It will take around half an hour for each topic to make a video.
Okay, we'll move on to next comment. Arun Kumar Bairapu. Hi Harsha, we can delete case type from App Studio. There are two options, delete work object and delete case type. And work object, as I remember, and one question I have, we are using 8.5 version. When we creating case type, it's creating by default one stage. Is there any way to control or remove that stage? Thanks in advance.
Okay. So if starting from 8.5 onwards, Pega creates a new stage called create as a first stage. In that create stage, it had a process called create, which is a screen flow. Okay, that we call it as multi-step form. So there is no way we can delete this stage. Pega has disabled the option to delete this stage. And previously we used to we can add our own stages, 8.4 and before versions. When we create case type, any stage that we want we can add, but there is no way you can delete this particular stage. But the workaround is we can delete the case type rule. Pega creates a case type rule by name py default. Delete the py default case type rule created by Pega and create a new case type rule with same name, and there we can add our own stages. Okay, this is the workaround which we can do.
Okay, we move on to next comment.
Okay.
Banu is asking this. In scenario 1, you said PRPC will exit decision table whenever a condition match happens, that is 10th row.
Okay.
Can we not use evaluate all rows to check the rest of rows?
We can use evaluate all rows. When we use evaluate all rows, all conditions will be evaluated for sure. So evaluate all rows we need when in case if we want to assign more than one property. Simply, usually we don't go for it. That's the main thing about evaluate all rows. We can use it.
Okay, next comment from Jayvant. Sir, can you please tell me when to use decision table and when to use decision tree?
Yeah, this was been already explained in the previous interview sessions. And decision tree we use when in case if we have to use different set of properties for different conditions. So I have 5 conditions. Each condition requires one different set of properties. Then we go for decision tree. And decision table we go for when all conditions uses same set of properties. This is another point. One more point is like we can access expression builder in table, but we cannot access expression builder in tree. This is also another situation. But main thing is different properties for different conditions, decision tree. All conditions uses same properties is decision table.
Next comment from Natural World. Hi, it's an interview question. Please clarify. When the data page loaded first time, if mentioned refresh older than 1 hour, and when the data page loaded second time.
When data page is created with 1 hour of time refresh, it will get created next time when a new request is being made. For example, data page is created at 8 AM. It will get refreshed to remove at 8:59:59. 9 AM it will not be there. It will be created after 9. Whoever is going to make a first request, maybe at 10:30 or 11 or 9:30, anytime when next request is being made, that time data page will get created again.
Next comment is from Pega Hub. Is data page is always a shared page?
Data page is always a shared page. That is the main reason we go for data pages.
Okay, next comment from Suri Babu. In a flow rule, how we route assignment to operator, and if operator does not complete it in 5 minutes, how we move or end flow?
See, whenever an assignment is created, if we wanted to perform any automatic action on assignment, we need to depend on SLA. So we need to create an SLA and give a goal time of 5 minutes. And in the goal escalation, we can call an OOTB activity PX force case closed. It will get closed, which means that it is going to move to end shape, and we can update the status to result completed. So this PX force case close activity itself will accept the current work object ID as a parameter, and also the status which starts with a result as a status to update. So that will reach out to the end shape. There are other ways also to do it, but this is fair enough.
Next comment also from Suri only. We
Okay.
have a case management rule already exists, but now we does not need it. How to delete it?
The case type rule, case management rule means he is asking about case type rule. There is a way that we can hide the case type rule, but we don't delete it. Deleting case type doesn't mean that it is deleting from the case type explorer. We can manually go to the application explorer and delete the classes, all other rules including case type, flows, sections and all. And finally, if we go to application rule form, in the application rule form under cases and data tab, there will be a checkbox and the name of the case type and the respective class. We can uncheck that checkbox, case type will be disappeared from the case types explorer. Without deleting all these rules also, we can uncheck that option, it will get disappeared from there.
Next comment is from Lavanya.
Okay.
Thank you, Harsha, for your explanation. What are the new features added in Pega 8.6 as compared to older version like 7.5 and 8? Please make video on all Pega Express methodology.
Okay, so for this to explain, we need to make another video as she is asking. We will do it in future.
Okay, next comment also from Suri. What are different shapes in case management?
In case management, in the sense case type, whether case type or flow, there are so many n number of flow shapes available. Like the basic shapes like assignment, decision shape, and utility shape, and also many other flow shapes are available. And apart from that, we have smart shapes, send email, create PDF, change stage, change to next stage, change to another stage, and also we have update case smart shape. Like this, there are so many shapes available, and integrate shapes like advanced shapes like split for each split join, even basic shapes sub process. There are many flow shapes available.
After creating case in using activity, how to run at the case at backend automatically to complete the case, total case?
So might be he is asking like the case is created and it is in progress and we wanted to do a data fix in the backend to finish the case. Okay, which means that there may be open assignments on the case. We need to remove the open assignments of the case and we need to verify the tables like PC assign work list, PC assign work basket, and also PRSys logs, and also agent table if anything is being queued for this. So we have to delete the records for this particular case from all of these tables, and once everything is been deleted, and we can go ahead and modify the status or update the status of this particular case to resolved completed. That's how open assignments will be removed and case status will be set to resolved completed. In order to do all this, we need to write our own activity.
Okay, next comment is from Ramya. Can you please explain what is the locking mechanism Pega has and relation between parent and child lock?
Yes, locking mechanism is like Pega has two types of locking. One is default locking and the second one is optimistic locking. Default locking means lock will be acquired immediately when the when case is been opened, and the locking algorithm will be like whenever a user try to open a case, process commander verifies the table PRSys logs. If there is an entry found, which means already some other user has acquired lock, and it prevents the current user whoever is requesting from not editing it. And if there is no entry in PRSys logs table, process commander is going to make an entry for the current user, which means that it is acquiring lock on current username and allows the current user to edit it. The default lock time for an ideal session is, the timeout is like 30 minutes. We can modify it in the case type rule. And moreover, there is another type of locking called optimistic locking. Optimistic locking means lock will be acquired only when in case an action is being performed. Like when a case is being opened, lock will not be acquired, which means that two or more users at a time can open the assignment of a case from a work basket and all of them can edit, but whoever performs the action first, for them the lock will be acquired and gets released after the action is been done. And locking between parent and child case, if we have to say, we can define the locking of either default or optimistic locking for parent case, but there is no provision of defining a locking mechanism for children or child cases, because child cases always inherits the lock from locking type from the parent case. So if I apply default locking for parent case, all child cases will follow default locking. If I apply optimistic locking for parent case, all child cases will be using optimistic locking. That's it.
Next comment is from Suri. Who we know how many work objects created by user in developed environment by using report definition.
So if we want to access the number of work objects created by each user, so we need to create a report definition on work table, and in that we need to add the columns like prex create operator, where px create operator we have to use count on this particular work object PYID as well. Then it is going to give the number of work objects created by the same user. It will get displayed by a number in the report definition row.
Okay, next comment is from Swati. Thanks for making videos for us. In an application, already the declare index and the declare index table, everything created for need of business today. But how can we get in-flight cases data in declare index table? This is one important question for me. As per my understanding, when we create declare index table, all data get copied into create index table. Am I correct, sir? If any wrong, explain me please.
Okay. And if this is the question that has been asked in interview, then the interviewer point of view is not simply expecting whether the index table gets created and data gets loaded by the respective internal jobs that are running. So usually when we create declare index table will get created and in-flight cases data will be uploaded into the index table. And in future, if we are creating any cases, that will get loaded into respective work as well as index tables. But the point here is when we move this code from development to another server, let's say live server directly, not directly, live server when we will move the DDLs related to declare index related table and all. So index table will get created in the production. But what about the in-flight cases that are there in production? Because we are not running any indexing wizard, this optimization wizard in production, right? After indexing is been done in development, we are moving it to live server. When you move it to live server, the index table will get created, but in-flight cases data won't be there. For that, we may have to do extraction of the existing work objects and load it into the respective index table. For that, we need to write the respective DDLs, or we may have to write activities and run those activities with an agent at the off business hours. This has to be done. That's why this question is being asked by interviewer.
Okay, next comment from Madan. Hi, thanks for video. I have one question. In an activity under security tab, we can select activity type as utility, online, trigger and so on. Why we are selecting that option? Without selecting that option, if we call that activity in any of utility or on change rules, is it throw an error? If not, why we should select that option in activity security tab?
In an activity rule form, under the security tab, we have an option activity type. In that activity type option, we have activity type activity, activity type utility, activity type on change, trigger, and load declarative. There are many other options available. See, when we create activity type activity or utility, any type here and there, if we click the down arrow, suppose if I create an activity type activity and go to declare on change rule and press the down arrow at the place of activity, this activity will not show up. Only on change activities will show up. And now, if you're going to call this activity directly in the declare on change rule by copy pasting the activity name, it won't throw any error message, it will run successfully. But there is some reason behind providing the activity type. It is not just to make the activity available at the respective rule type. There is a reason behind activity types. That is, if activity type is activity, that activity can be invoked from activity and HTML code that everyone knows. But if I use show page method, show HTML method, this will accept because this activity is being called from another activity or from user interface. Okay, on click of a button, if I want to display UI, some property values in HTML form, that is possible by using show HTML. And I can display in XML format the data by using show page method. So this works in the front end. Okay, but utility activity. Utility means we are going to call the activity utility shape. That is a background processing. In a background processing, how would I display UI? Go and create a utility activity and try to use show page XML, show page method or show HTML methods and all. Try to save the activity till through compilation error. And similarly, declare on change rule or declare trigger. In these activities, we cannot use the self property set for the same properties on which we are monitoring. So this type of features are being restricted in based on the activity type. So utility type, you cannot use show page method, you cannot use show HTML like this, show harness, this and all you should not be doing because it is a background processing. That is the reason for coming up with activity types instead of simply making it available for calling at the respective rule.
Okay, next comment is from Susmita. Can we create declare expression on page list property?
Declare expression on page list property we can create. See, in order to create declare expression for page list property, at the time of creating declare expression itself, first parameter is target property, second parameter is page context. In the page context, we need to provide the page list name, and inside the declare expression definition, the properties you access will be coming from this page list. So we can create it. It is possible.
Okay, next comment is from Chandra. What is the difference between declare on change and declare expression?
Difference between declare expression and declare on change is very simple. Declare expression is used to do property set. Whenever there is a change in the property values, whenever target property is used, we wanted to set the target property value, then we go for expression. But declare on change we call an activity. So meaning that more than property set we can do in a declare on change. But simply whenever we wanted to do a property set, what you call in declare expression, forward and backward chaining. Input property changes forward chaining. In this target property usage is backward chaining. But declare on change is more than property set we do in an activity. Apart from that, only forward chaining. Backward chaining means target property and all will not be there in declare on change.
Okay, next comment is from Ravi. The response parameters of service SOAP is now changed by vendor for new requirements. Means earlier it was sending 3 responses. Now they modified to send 7. How to modify this behavior with respect to connect SOAP?
Yeah, in a connect SOAP, if we have already created a connect SOAP rule and if we are already consuming the existing service, any changes that are being made at the service end, we have to implement here. As you are asking about the response parameters, we have to modify the response properties. I mean, like we have to create some more properties in the respect to response class, and we need to update the parse rule, XML parse rule, when response is received. For that, in between the existing or after existing the nodes in the XML parse rule, we need to add the different attributes and map it to the newly created properties and refresh everything, save and check in, it will work fine.
Okay, next comment is from Himabindu. How to start and stop SLA in activities?
So if we wanted to stop an SLA, definitely we have to stop the SLA agent. So we cannot pass an individual SLA. That is not possible usually. Directly it is not possible. We can adjust SLAs by using a local action PX adjust SLAs. We can change the time interval of goal and deadline in order to adjust the SLA time intervals. And if you want to permanently stop all SLAs, we have to go ahead and stop the SLA agent. Other than that, if you want to stop specific SLA alone, we have to go to the respective PR SysQ SLAs table, and we need to change the status of that respective item from scheduled to some other status which will not be picked by, which is not going to be looked at by agent. So we can change it to any XYZ status that will not be picked by the SLA agent. Later when we want to resume it, we can modify the status back to scheduled status.
Okay, next comment is from Shikar. What is difference between thread level data page and clipboard? Why we not use thread level instead of clipboard? Both are doing same. Please comment.
Yeah, clipboard page in a transaction we can access at any place in the transaction. Similarly, thread level data page is also within one single transaction we can use anywhere. But the point is, if it is a clipboard page, it will get reloaded again and again. So n number of times, suppose for example, there is a page called ABC under that PX results if I am loading it by executing activity. So every time when I run this activity multiple times, this page will be freshly loaded by hitting the database. 10 times if I am loading the drop down by calling an activity, first time, second time, third time, fourth time, 10th time also, it will hit the database and load the page freshly again and again. But if it is data page, so whenever we are using database, for the first time it will load, second time, third time to 10th time, it will copy from the clipboard. So the sharing mechanism is not there with the clipboard user pages, but it is there for the data pages.
Okay, next comment is from Kalpana. Hi Harsha, I have a question on case locking mechanism. If a case is configured with locking option equal to allow multiple users.
Okay.
Now, 2 users open the same case at the same time and trying to update.
Okay.
How many entries will be present in PR syslocks table?
Okay. So as you are saying, allow multiple users is the locking option. Allow multiple users means optimistic locking. So we need to understand the concept of optimistic locking, that in optimistic locking, lock will be acquired when an action is being performed. not when the case is open. Means if 2 users log in, if the option is allow multiple users to open it, lock will not be acquired. 10 users log in and open the case, there won't be any record in the lock table. But any one of them, when they click on submit, lock entry will be made in the lock table. At a time in the lock table, only one record will be there. That is when an action is being performed.
Okay, next comment is from Sai. I was asked a question like, how can you add a case link in a correspondence route when we send an email?
Okay, in an email we can use, for an email sending we can use correspondence. In the correspondence rule, if you want to add the link of a work object, then we need to use, or we need to include an OOTB correspondence fragment called work link. So when we use this work link OOTB correspondence fragment and include it, then we can go ahead and get the link delivered to the email. And we can modify this as per our requirement. If you open that fragment, we'll come to know about it. Okay.
Okay, next comment also from Sai. In SLA, there is one escalation defined and that escalation is not happening as defined. It is not invoking the escalation. How to check the problem?
See, if the SLA escalation is not being executed, which means that the escalation activity, the respective agent responsible for doing all this, that is service level event, it might be down, or it might has got some error message, or it might be down for some reason, and we need to see whether there are any errors in the log files and fix it, and then we need to make sure to restart the service level events agent, and which is there in Pega Procom.
Okay, next comment also from Sai. When executing file listener, once the execution of file listener is done, then what will be the location of the file in the folder?
So once the execution of the file listener is done, the file will get deleted if we choose the option of delete in the file listener rule. Suppose in the file listener rule there is another option called keep. If we choose that option, this particular file is going to move to completed folder. There is a folder called completed. It will get moved into that completed folder.
Next comment also from Sai. There is another question as well. While implementing reporting, if a property has not been optimized, then still is there any way to access the property inside the report?
Yes. See, starting from Pega 7 onwards, let me tell you, before Pega 7, Pega 6.3 and before, if a property is not optimized, we will not be able to access in the report definition. We used to get compilation error, but starting from Pega 7 onwards, accessing the property is allowed even though it is not optimized, but it will throw a severe warning saying that there will be a performance issue. We can access it directly without any issues starting from Pega 7.
Okay. Next comment also from Sai only. We have a declare expression. The target value is changing throughout the case lifecycle. Now,
Okay.
how to track the previous values of the target value?
So in order to track the previous values of all this, we have an OOTB declare trigger rule. PY track changes, we can use it, and it is going to copy the value into the history part and all. So that OOTB declare trigger rule, we can make use of it and call it. It will keep the track of all the old values.
Okay, next comment is from King. May I know about report definition in database, source and parameters?
Yeah, we can use report definition as a source for the data page, and if we want to pass the parameters from data page to report definition, at the time of calling report definition, we can make use of the option there, parameters, and pass current parameter page we can do. So data page parameters will be passed to report definition.
Thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe to Harsha Trainings channel. Please like and share this video. If you have any questions related to Pega, please post it in comment box. We'll try to resolve in next videos. Thank you.